The third main species that is being affected, and maybe the most concerning to us humans, are fish. Fish generally eat smaller animals, and seeing tiny bits of plastic float in the ocean can be a prime target for fish. The main problem with that, however, is not the fact that the fish eat the plastic, but that the bits are toxic. Moreover, as we eat the larger fish, who have previously eaten the smaller fish, an occurrence called bioamplification takes place. Simply put, toxins, unlike energy, do not grow smaller as we move up the food chain, but rather grow. Here's an example. A fish eats 0.01 kilograms of plastic before being eaten by a bigger fish. While the bigger fish will only get 10% of the energy from the smaller fish, it will receive 100% of the toxicity. The larger fish will then need to eat 9 more fish to get 100% of its energy, gaining 0.1 kilograms of toxicity in the process. When a human eats that fish, that person will then get the 0.1 kilograms of DDT, the main chemical in plastic, from the fish. That may not sound like a lot, but due to the fact that we consume food every day, the DDT in our system starts to add up quickly. Well, the plastic in the ocean affects us in many ways. One way, as mentioned above, is that as animals eat the plastic, the DDT seeps into them, which we eat afterwards. Another factor is the fact that water covers 70% of the Earth, and we humans depend on water to survive, being comprised of 57 to 60% of it ourselves. Because of this, we can't afford to start dumping garbage into something that could technically be viewed as our life source. The most important way it affects us, however, is that plankton, the base of the oceanic food chain, is in danger due to the amount of plastic floating on the surface. Plankton relies on photosynthesis, absorbing sunlight for energy, to survive. If no sunlight gets through the plankton, however, due to a plastic blanket on top of the water, they will start dying. With no plankton to eat, smaller fish will go hungry and die, a process that will repeat up the food chain until there are very few fish left. You may not think this affects you if you don't like eating fish, but there is a very high chance that the food you eat got some or all of its nutrients directly or indirectly from fish. If all or most of the fish disappear, our society would see a large shift in our very livelihood. Though the garbage patch was discovered in 1997 by Captain Charles Moore, the response from governments have been slowed due to the fact that the garbage patch area doesn't really belong to any one country, meaning no country wants to take responsibility for it. Instead, several organizations have taken up this mantle to try and tackle the problem. Greenpeace has started a campaign where they show a piece of garbage in one hand and a sign in the other that says, "Is this yours?" as shown here. The point of this is to bring awareness to all the different types of garbage that can end up in the ocean. Charles Moore himself has also taken action against the patch, regularly sailing out to the eastern patch with a scientific team to study the effects of the plastic on the ocean and to retrieve any large pieces of garbage that they find out there. Even a Canadian team from the University of Waterloo has gotten involved in trying to find a solution. Professor Philippe Van Kapelen, the university's head of ecohydrology, is leading a study of plastic debris in the Great Lakes. In this relatively closed system, they are hoping to find a solution to the garbage problem. If so, they may be able to apply the same techniques on a larger scale in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Not all contributions have to come from well-established groups, however. Anyone can help. By cutting back or even stopping some everyday practices, you can help save the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Instead of throwing out a plastic bottle, recycle it, or try using biodegradable or reusable cups next time. When everyone participates, great things happen. So let's all work together to help make the Great Pacific, well, great again.
Created using Powtoon.